Hey everyone, I am super excited to start my basic crochet series. In this series, I am going to show you all the different basic stitches you need to know to learn to crochet. So whether you are teaching yourself or learning how to teach other people how to crochet, this series is going to be perfect for you. Now, in this intro video, I'm mostly going to talk about materials, what kind of yarn you need, and what kind of hook is best for beginners. I am making these videos mostly for my students. I'm an elementary school teacher and I have an after-school knitting and crochet club. So I wanted to create a resource for my students so when they go home after club and they need help, I have some videos that are already vetted and using the same language that I'm using in the classroom so that they can get that repetition and learn to crochet. So let's dive right into materials. So to learn to crochet, you only need two things. You need yarn and you need a crochet hook. So let me tell you about some tips and tricks I have for when you're choosing those items to get started. Let's first talk about yarn. When choosing a yarn or a hook, it's really good to stay in the middle. And by that I mean nothing that's too tiny and nothing that's too big. That can be really awkward for a beginner. Learning to crochet already feels awkward enough. We don't need to make it harder on ourselves. So we're going to choose a yarn that is in the middle of the road. So this yarn that I have here is a medium weight yarn or a size 4 yarn. And it is in a light color on purpose. You want something that is not too dark because it can be hard to see your stitches, and you want something that is very smooth in texture, no loops, no fuzzies, no nubs on your yarn, and you also want something that is a solid color. The reason being is if it's a multicolor, it can be really hard to see. And again, if it's too dark and your hook is dark, it's going to be hard to distinguish between your stitches. So the yarn that I have here is Cascade 220 Superwash, which is a medium worsted weight yarn. This is a wool yarn that has been treated to be super soft. This is not a yarn that you can get at a big box store like Michael's or Joann's. You do have to purchase it through a yarn store, whether it's online or at your local shop. Now, this is not the yarn that I get for my students. I like to go to a Joann's or Michael's and get a medium weight worsted size 4 yarn that is always going to be accessible to them if they ever need to go get more. So now that we've talked about our yarn, let's talk about our hook. So like I said, we want to stay middle of the road for our yarn, and we also want to stay middle of the sizes for our hook. Nothing super fat, nothing super skinny for our hook, or it's just not going to work with the yarn that we've chosen. So I really like to treat my students to a really nice hook to start out with. I feel like the hook you choose can make all the difference in the world, and it's important that you have something that you can hold on to easily. When I learned to crochet, I just got your classic aluminum hook, and it was fine, but it was a little hard to manipulate. And if you're thinking about kids or even just beginners, they need something that is easy to hold on to and easier to manipulate. So that's why I really like these Clover Amore hooks. They have a silicone handle that is not squishy, but it is soft. It has a flat base where your thumb will go, which I find really important because if it did have a dip in it and that wasn't where I wanted to grip, my thumb would never feel like it was in the right place. It still has an aluminum hook, and I find this hook very easy to pull stitches through. I've had a lot of success with kids learning to crochet with these hooks, and I really like to use them on my own. The hook size that I always use for beginners is an H, a 5mm hook. This is because it's right in the middle of the road and pairs very nicely with our medium weight yarn. When we learn to crochet, if you're like me, you are really tight, and having a hook that's a little bigger paired with the yarn really helps remedy that. Okay, so let's talk about the videos that are going to be in this series. These videos will be coming out over the next few weeks as I prepare for my first club with my students for this year. So we're going to go over all of the basic stitches that you need to know in order to crochet. And each of these videos is going to be very short and just cover one skill. The first video is going to be a slip knot, and a slip knot is how you start any crochet project. The next video is going to be the chain stitch. This is how we get our stitches, get the number of stitches that we need to make a crochet project. A lot of people tell me that they learned how to chain and they would make chains that were like miles long, and that is awesome. I'm gonna show you how to chain right-handed, and I'm also gonna show you how to chain left-handed. They will be in separate videos, so whether you are a right-handed person or a left-handed person, you have both of those videos to view. Some people, even though they are right or left-handed as they write, find that it's more comfortable to do the opposite when they crochet. So if things are just not feeling right, pick up the hook in whichever hand is comfortable for you. After we learn how to chain, we're gonna move into our stitches. So the first stitch we're gonna learn is single crochet. Again, there will be right and left-handed videos for that. Then we're going to go into a half double crochet, which is just a tiny bit taller than the single crochet. And then finally, we'll do the classic double crochet. Again, all of these videos will be available right and left-handed. A little bit of a disclaimer here for the left-handed videos. I actually am a right-handed person and I crochet right-handed, but I did learn to crochet left-handed in order to teach my students. Am I a beautiful left-handed crocheter? Not at all, but I think that would be really beneficial for you guys to see. You will really truly experience with me what it feels like to be a beginning crocheter as you see the movements that I have to make when it doesn't feel comfortable to go through these stitches. So it'll be really good to see that, but I just want to give you a disclaimer that I am not a truly left-handed person, but I will be recording these videos not flipped, but just actually left-handed. Now you have all the information you need to go out and get the yarn and the hook you need to teach yourself or to teach others how to crochet. So let's get started.